Brother.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to our first annual Cultural Heritage Group, where we will honor and recognize those soldiers that paid the ultimate price in their sacrifice for the ideals of this nation, who served and are buried in and around Chappell Hill, Texas. I'm going to start out with just a little story, and I'll be brief as I can, but it sort of paints a picture that I think is critically important for us here today. When I was a child, maybe 5, 6 years old, I used to watch this old guy wander up and down the dusty roads between Old Washington and John Daniel's church. And occasionally my dad would stop and he'd come over to the truck and lean into the window, and his hands would shake and his head would shake. And I used to wonder if he had to sleep that way. And I asked my dad what happened to him. And my dad said that in World War I, he was shell-shocked. And I don't know whatever happened to him, but I want to fast forward another 15 years, and I found myself in the Army, in advanced training, or AIT as it's called, in Redstone Arsenal, Alabama. And above the entrance to the mess hall, they had these words: "In time of war and no more, both God and man, all men adore. But when the war is over and all things righted, God is forgotten and the old soldier slighted." 6 months after that, I was in Vietnam. The personnel specialist keeping track of soldiers coming and going, keeping track of the missing in action, the killed in action, wounded in action, AWOL, those in the stockades. And this whole picture became clear to me. And 18 months later, I was discharged Fort Lewis, Washington, with an honorable discharge, all in one piece, in my right mind. And I remember the prayer I used to pray when I was in Vietnam. I used to say, "God, don't let me die this far from home." And He brought me home safe and sound. And I made a commitment that I would never forget God and I would never slight old soldiers. And my presence here today is evidence of my conviction to that commitment. Today is Memorial Day, and this is the day set aside by Congress to honor those who have died in the line of duty. And that's what we want to do here today. But we also want to recognize those that are still living. My mother had 2 favorite songs in church. One was, "Will the Circle Be Unbroken?" And the other one was, "Give me my flowers while I yet live." So the veterans that are alive and here today, we want to recognize them, honor them, let their families and friends know that we will never forget their service and their sacrifice.